Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome along to Business Owners Smashing It Online. A favourite time of the week for me, Tuesday. This is where I get my hit of education and learning from the best of the best. And of course, it's always good to be learning with other people in the room. So thank you for turning up tonight. I know you could probably be doing some other things, but I promise you it'll be fun. And we always have a night where we learn heaps and really make it worthwhile. For those that don't know me, my name is Nick Cree and I am your host. Business Owners Smashing Online is a webinar. It's free for business owners, entrepreneurs, people with an entrepreneurial flair, thinking that's a great time to get into business, which with a impending recession coming up, so I hear, is apparently a really good time to get into business because more millionaires are made during recessionary times than they are in good times. So it's a great time to be in business. But before we kick off, you will see that we have Jason in the background waiting for us. I'll introduce him shortly. He's just getting some slides PowerPoint. This is pen and paper, getting that ready for the session today. But let's see who we've got in the room today. So feel free to unmute or put your hand up, whichever works for you. And I'll ask you to introduce yourself, your name, your business, and what are you hoping to get out of tonight? So your name, your business, what are you hoping to get out of tonight? And I saw Quentin with his hand first up there. So how are you, Quentin?
Not too bad, Nick, yourself?
Very good, very good.
So what I'm hoping to do is find a business alliance or business partner that works in the same line of industry as me, especially with me branch my business in Sydney because I'm finding it hard to get clients in Sydney at the moment.
Awesome. Excellent. Oh, well, you're definitely in the right room tonight. In fact, Jason was someone I wanted to introduce to you, and I rang you about him sort of a while back. So you get to meet him here in person. So I think you'll find tonight's session really good. Good to have you with us. You in Sydney at the moment or back up in the Gold Coast?
Sydney this week and Gold Coast next week.
Fantastic. Excellent. All right. Well, welcome along. And we have, who else we got? Paul. How are you, Paul? You've got your hand up.
I do. Thank you. Yeah, I'm great. Thanks, Nick. My name is Paul Sheaf from Paul's Productions. I enable people to get an increased sense of participation and closure when they cannot be in person at the funeral or memorial service of their loved one. Because with live streaming in full high definition, multiple cameras, it just brings the room to those people no matter where they are around the world. And the professional recording that's provided for them afterwards is that permanent memento that the families can remember their loved one by.
Awesome.
So Paul from Paul's Productions in Sydney. I shoot people with not just one cannon, but a whole volley of them.
Excellent, excellent. Always good to have you here. And,
yeah, I love being here. I even interrupted my first course of dinner to come in here, and I'll finish the other bag of prawns when we're done.
Excellent. We're changing things up a bit today, so you'll have time to do that as well. All right, we've got
yes,
Ray.
While you're there, mate, while you're waiting, look up Living Legacy Forest. They're a client of mine. They do memorials, and you'll like it, and they'd make a good partnership for you.
Good, thank you.
Excellent. While you're doing that, we've got Ray. How are you, Ray? Calling in from somewhere in New Zealand. Not quite sure where today.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Ray Treadaway from raytreadaway.com, just south of Christchurch and in the South Island, across the ditch. And I work with Newskin as a advocate for their company and their products, and the range of products behind me all come from various ethnic people around the globe, and royalty gets paid back to them for the use of the recipe there. So excellent range of products. And I like to work with people who want to look good, feel great, and perform well, okay, who value their long-term optimal health. And that's it from him.
Excellent. Well, good to have you coming in all the way from New Zealand. Well, we are going to crack straight into it today because we're under a wee bit of time pressure today. Jason is a wanted man and he's shooting off to another event to speak straight after this. So we're actually going to change things up a bit today just so that we get maximum value from Jason and I can get him off early as well too. But before we do kick off, I'll just run through it quickly. We do have an agenda today. I've got some cool online tools, but we would normally do that first. We are going to do that second. So stick around till the after the presentation with Jason today, and we're going to finish off with some cool online tools. And so we'll bring the presentation up first. Now it's going to be a wee bit different today. It's going to be more interview style. We're going to have a conversation around joint ventures and partnerships. It's something that's really dear to my heart and has made me a lot of money in the past, with my businesses. So I'm going to enjoy having that conversation with Jason, and we're going to open it up too for you to ask questions and comments on the way through as well. So the question up, we do have a prize at the end. Well, yes, we do. So the way that the prize draw is going to run is that we're going to draw it after Jason's left. So he's got a prize which you're going to want to stick around and win. But of course, you've got to be in the room to win it at the end of the session. And we've got a special way of drawing that as well too. And then we'll sort of close off, talk about the next event before we close off. But just for now, love you to check in on social media. So whatever is your platform of choice, whether it be LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, whatever you like. Love you to check in, and where you would check in is just where you'd normally create a post. So in Facebook, that's what's on your mind, and LinkedIn, TikTok's just where you'd normally create some form of content or post. I've got Facebook up on screen. Just tap on what's on your mind. A menu will fly up from the bottom, and one of those items in the menu is check in. If you tap on that, you'll get a number of locations and events around by you. You may or may not see Business Owners Smashing It Online. If you don't see it, just type in Business Owners Smashing It Online in search. It'll come up, tap on it. It'll open up a post for you. And then you feel free to grab your phone, take a selfie of yourself in front of the screen, show us your desk, show us what you're eating for dinner, show us what's in your background as well, or just of the screen. And I'll pop that as well up there as well. Feel free to tag me in, tag Jason in. If you're here with someone, tag them in. Or if you think someone else might benefit from this, tag them in as well. Or if you know someone that's regularly here that isn't here tonight, how about tagging them in as well? They might have just forgotten or got tied up somewhere. So and once you've done that, post that to your social media platform. 2 reasons why we do this. One, obviously, is to spread the word of this event a wee bit further, just to let other people know that, hey, this is happening and they might want to come along as well. And for those people that did get tied up and forgot about tonight or sort of got interrupted with something, this popping up on their phones, sometimes it'll pop up on their feed. They'll get a notification and they'll pop in as well. That's why you sometimes see people popping in late. They see these notifications that you're posting there, and that reminds them to come in. The other reason why we do it is it helps to build your social media profile as well. Lots and lots of people have been through this program here over the past 6 years this has been running, and it can be a point in common when people are sort of looking at your profile and stalking you. And as well, sometimes people want to see that you are invested in your own personal and business development as well. And obviously this pops up as one of the things you do. All right. Well, we were going to do the call online tools first, but we are not. Instead, we're going to jump to our guest tonight, who is Jason Voight. Jason is, in fact, his initials are JV, which stands for Joint Venture Marketing. And that is his company. And he's going to talk tonight. In fact, we're going to have a conversation about joint ventures, partnerships, how to set them up, and how to use them to take your business to the next level. For those that don't know Jason, this is his business that he runs now. Formerly in life, he's been a policeman, would you believe? And down in Melbourne. But once he got out of that, he has spent time in business and really sort of exploring the entrepreneurial world. Jason and I met probably about sort of 4, 5, 6 weeks ago at a breakfast. and with a number of other marketers around the Gold Coast in Australia. And I thought this would be a fantastic topic for us all tonight. So, Jason, welcome along to Business Owners Smashing It Online.
Appreciate it, Nick. Thanks for having me, mate.
All right, let me just stop the share here so we can actually sort of see us here.
So I hope to be as punchy as possible with this one today and give everyone a lot of value and something to take away as well, which I'll leave right to the end.
Awesome. Excellent. Well, maybe if we kick off and just tell us a bit about what joint ventures and joint venture partnerships are.
Yep. Okay. That's a great question. So joint ventures is obviously two or more parties coming together by definition, coming together for a purpose, whether that be a project, whether that be forming an entity in the form of a partnership, or just sending each other referrals if you want to get to the lower level of it. There is a distinction because I would imagine that there's a number of people from BX in this call, or have gone to BNI. Yep. So getting some hands there. So what you'll get in that is you'll get referrals and they'll come in sparingly. You may set up a partnership, but the difference and the distinction of where I work is it's highly precise. So I was speaking to a gentleman the other day who's been in BX and he's got referrals, but I sat with him for about an hour and got very, very dialed in on exactly who would be the exact right partner that is almost competitive but complementary in his space, and to what degree of database did they have. So if you can see up here, and I'm just gonna roll with it. There's two sides typically to a joint venture partnership: strategic alliance, channel partnership if you're in the tech space, or referral. Is one, there's a product side, which means that you are looking for the list to gain access to and get distribution, so you can get more exposure or more revenue coming in at no to little risk or cost. Or there's the list looking for a product to plug in to their database and further serve their clients. So you can look at it at one or two ways. Now, just a show of hands on the call, who would be more a product looking to gain access for a list? Right. And who here has a list that believes that their clients could get value from an additional product inside your business that could, one, increase your revenue, but also, further serve your clients more? Is there anyone there? Yeah, and that's always a little bit less, right? That usually comes from more the seasoned businesses. So there's that opportunity there. So there's two ways to really make money from joint ventures. One is from the product side, gaining access to a list, or having a list and gaining access to a product that you can embed into your product suite that would be synergistically aligned with your target audience, and getting ultra clear on who that is. Every deal in a joint venture, there's obviously, we like to look for what is called a win-win-win. A win to you, a win to your partner, and then a win to the most important individual, which is the ultimate buyer, the person that is going to be utilizing the product or service, and making sure that they benefit from it. And then they become a raving fan and send more referrals. So there's the answer in a nutshell. I hope that was all right for you, Nick.
So when we think about joint venture partnerships, just looking at that diagram there, it looks like it's only a one-way relationship. Is that right? Or is it a two-way relationship where both parties are benefiting somehow?
That's a great question. It could work either way. There is no exact way of going about it. But typically, if you're in business, you would always want it to be a two-way relationship. Relationships are built on, coming together for mutual benefit. And that is, the core of every partnership is mutual benefit. You can come in depending on where you're at, and there's nuances to it. But if you are in startup and you're looking for a leg up, then typically, the growth stage business or established business that's been around for a long time is going to be propping up that startup, which it usually makes it, it's still a win-win, but typically the established business is the one that's taking on more of the say risk at times. If there is a little bit of risk there, sometimes there isn't, most times there isn't, but usually they're the ones that are taking it on more. But it always works out to be a win-win. I don't see any business coming together and forming a partnership or a project where they see themselves losing. It doesn't work that way. That's just silly business. So it can be both.
All right, sounds good. So how does a like a joint venture partnership differ from, say, an affiliate program or a referral program?
That's a really, really good question. The first thing that comes to my mind, and from experience, is typically affiliates have no emotional or relational buy-in into the business. And if you're using affiliates to protect your brand integrity and reputation of the brand, you put it more at risk because there's not as much control of what the affiliates are going out and saying or marketing to the space. A joint venture project is obviously more invested buy-in between both parties. So there's a lot more care when it comes to the value being conveyed and the reputation, but not only that, the core message, the message to market. Usually that's more dialed in. So it's a lot more protected and concise, which doesn't have as many leaky holes in the bucket, so to speak. So there's a difference there. There is a difference there. You could call affiliate marketing a form of joint ventures. However, I would say that it comes with a lot more risk and less control. And because of that, yes, you can get a lot of wins, but to maintain the consistency in those wins, I don't know about that.
And typically, I think affiliate marketing, like if you're bringing on affiliates, then you get I get lots of partners. So you sort of have some people that are performing well, some people that are not, some people that do the right thing, some people that maybe sort of just push the boundaries a bit. I mean, certainly that's been my experience in business working with affiliates. And from the other side, partnering with a company as an affiliate to promote and sell their products, then again, you're at the mercy and the risk of them changing the arrangement or them sort of changing the playing field.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's harder to control. That's for sure. Yeah. And you just don't know who you're bringing on. And with joint venture, look, it is the 80 Pareto principle 101, 80% of your revenue comes from 20% of the people that you're working with. I would say in affiliate marketing, it's more of a 5-95% ratio. 5% do really great job. And usually they should be calling themselves joint venture brokers or specialists anyway, because their craft is a lot more honed in and they're a lot more specialist, and they've done it for a while, so they're a lot more experienced. So there is that distinction there. Yeah.
So if we think about joint venture or some form of joint venture partnership, how would a business, like an ordinary business, go about finding joint venture partnerships, and how do you approach people to consider that?
It's a really good question. To go about finding it is, how am I going to do this one? I'll come back to that in a second. Have we got the bottom of the, let me just, perfect. It's a reverse engineer process. So in order to identify who the best partner is, it's a reverse engineer. So you want access to the best partner possible. Just call this a giant, and you want to stand on the shoulder of that giant. You need to first do the work and identify who your avatar is, right? And we all know this, yeah. It's ideal customer profile, avatar, niche, right? Get very, 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 very specific, because the number one thing that you want to do when you're going out and reaching out to that partner is have the same language, communicate to them at the same level. That bypasses a lot of the skepticism. So the way that you do that is you get ultra clear on who your target market is. So if you're a business in here and you're not niched and you're just going, yeah, well, I work with anyone, sure, that works. It does work, and that's fine. But if you are looking to go out and get ultra specific or get a lot of new clients generated, you want to actually narrow yourself down, because with that narrowing you actually become more expansive, because you're going to be able to identify a lot more clearly who these giants are. And when you reach out to them, speaking their language is going to resonate, and you're going to get more positive response from them based on the fact that you're saying, I'm a specialist, I work with this client and I help them do this. You've got that client and I'm willing to add value to you, make you look like a hero in front of them, all for endorsing me. So get ultra specific on that client. Does that make sense to everyone? I hope so. I can see hands and yeah, does that make sense? Does that answer the question? Is there anything I need to get more specific about?
So that's that discussion there, or that thing that probably all of us have heard before about creating your ideal client profile or your avatar, or you know, that ideal persona, so that you know exactly who it is that you're serving. Now, one of the things that people often say to me is that you know, well, I serve more people than just this one narrow target, which is okay. You can actually have 3, 4, or 5 different personas or ideal clients, but from what I get from you, what you're suggesting there is that you, when you have a look at your joint venture partners, you have a look at your personas or your ideal client avatars, see which one actually is going to fit best with that other business, and that's what you really laser target in on with. Is that right?
100%. And I'll give you one case study example that I worked with years ago. A generalist business coach, his business was called Global Business Coaching. And he came to me and I said, okay, great. You're a generalist business coach. You're fantastic. He's like, I've got all these qualifications. And I'm like, that's awesome. No one cares. What we really need to do is identify who you're going to niche down into. Otherwise, I'm going to go and get a partner for you. They're going to go, so what? I know 5 other business coaches. What makes this person any different? So niche them into the trade space. Great. I went out, found a software company that had access to 30,000 tradies, got him access to 30,000 tradies. He became an embedded partner inside that company. So he looked as if he was inside that company. He was just the coach within it. So he got access to that whole database and any more leads that was coming through. And it was highly complementary. And we positioned it in such a way that added value to that software company, because we plugged a hole that they had in their business, which was helping the tradies on the back end of what that app was doing. So that's just an example of differentiation. You could be a generalist or you could be a specialist and then gain access to the same amount of work anyhow, because there's plenty out there.
So with that example there sounds like there's a bit of a risk that you could lose your business identity by being embedded in a company, and that your clients or your customers don't actually realize that you've got your own business. They think that you're part of this other business. Is that a risk or is that a problem?
No, business is about making money, the bottom line.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Can I ask a question, or is that rude, or I'm not sure?
Angelique, go ahead.
Is it okay to ask a question?
Absolutely.
I've actually just approached a giant, and I'm not going to say who they are, but they're really giant. And my biggest issue is that, are they going to see me? I mean, are they going to see me in their sea of emails? I tried to contact them and there was no way I could get to anybody on the phone. So I had to just, any tips on that?
You've already done the right thing by reaching out to them. That's fantastic. The nuances and technicalities of that is specific to everyone individually. So to give you a clean cut answer, the way that I would do it is I would say, who is the decision maker? Find a way to get their number, or find a way to get who knows them and get them to refer you. And yeah, I could see you going, yeah.
I can share my story because it's no big deal, right? You know, I'm sorry, I don't know your guys very much, and I don't really know how to handle these kind of situations. But anyway, working on it. Anyway, so I have been privileged to be in 4 books that made it to bestsellers, but they were all, multiple authors in those books. Where now I've just been taken by the biggest publisher in Australia, and I'm going to have my own book out. And I know that it's a perfect timing for the world because they're going to need it. And it's called Refresh Your Mind to Thrive. And it's how to harness your mind to create an insanely brilliant life. So I also, because I'm from Switzerland and I speak 5 languages, I'm going to have the book translated in a few languages. But I was thinking big and wide, because I really need to have a massive audience. And Europe at the moment is in such a bad shape. Sorry, I'm just explaining all these details because they matter. And so I thought of a really high-end, luggages, because and anyway, straight to the point, Louis Vuitton, because they promote on their website about dreaming, about traveling, about enjoying life. So boom, and I rang Australia, I rang Paris, I rang several places. I got a couple of emails. I'm hoping I'll get through, but this is it, I just want to get through to them because it'd be amazing.
Angelique, I have a question for you. Have instead of starting with the whales, have you started with some dolphins?
Yeah, I have lots of dolphins. Yeah.
Great. And how are you going with them?
And I'm really good in sales. Sorry, I should say that too, because awesome. I used to be, I used to do timeshare, and then I did solar, and I used to close like crazy.
Beautiful.
I had hot leads, you see, and that's the thing. With cold calling is totally different.
Okay, Angelique, my answer to you is going to be short, sharp, because we've just got to be wary of time. Is if you're going to go for a whale, you're going to have to do something extra special, which means that I would look at a strategy that no one else uses. Either one, pick up the phone and make a direct contact with the decision maker at the top. Go by the principle or philosophy. I rather start at the top and climb my way down than start at the bottom and climb my way up. And number 2, if you really want to get tricky, there's a guy named Greg Smith. He runs a company called Send Handwritten, and he is phenomenal at doing alternative strategies such as lumpy mail and handwritten cards. That bypasses things that the rest of the market do with automated bot messages and everything. A lot more special. So if you want the whales, you've just got to add that extra heart and that extra element of connection. Humans want connection. It doesn't matter whether it's the president, the CEO of Deloitte, who I reached out to and got a great response with. They all want human connection, and they love good people. So if you can reach out with a heart-centered gift of something that resonates with them, then do that. And that's the best way.
That was very helpful. Thank you so much.
My
and
pleasure.
in fact, Greg Smith was one of our guests on here, I think it was towards the end of last year, or maybe it was this year, earlier this year. So if you hop onto the Smash Go YouTube channel and look for Greg Smith and Steve Dart, you'll see their presentation there, and they go into exactly what Jason was talking about, and it works an absolute treat.
Yep, absolutely. And it works very well for joint ventures.
Awesome. Thank you.
My pleasure.
I'm going to do this. Watch me.
Fantastic. We'll come back and report back to us and let us know how you're going.
Absolutely. Connect with me on LinkedIn.
Thank you.
So that, that's a really good example of someone who's just grabbing the bull by the horns, so to speak, and going for it, or grabbing the whale by the tail and sort of going along for the ride. But for the rest of us, you've just given us a strategy there, Jason, of starting with the dolphins and working your way up to the whale.
Yep.
How do you actually approach someone to once you know what your avatar is, you're ultra specific on who your client is and who you serve. Sometimes when you approach people, they think that you're all in it for yourself, and so they're naturally hesitant and pull back. What are some strategies that you would recommend to approach people?
Lukey's on. Hey, Lukey, mute your audio, mate. You're the video guy, and you've got your audio leaking. So a great way. So whenever I have resistance towards doing something, what I do is called a results in advance. If that answers your question, I add value up front. So whichever way you can think of adding value to someone up front, giving before receiving, then that usually, lowers the resistance temperature, so to speak, from high resistance to low resistance. I had one guy, Russ Stevens, the Association of Professional Builders, he was highly hesitant to work with me once. And I said, look, give me 1 week and I'll have a partnership already set up for you. And if that happens, put money in my bank account. Had one done and it was it was a tick, and then we worked together. So that was just a prime example of a result in advance. And yeah, so that's a good strategy. Does that answer your question, Nick?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a
I
change
can
of
elaborate.
mind. It's a change of mindset there, where people often go into relationships there, and they go in on they go on the basis of trying to get business, as opposed to going in to try and see what they can give. And the ultimate result is to actually get business. But yet, if you go in with that attitude, then it more often than not fails. Yeah.
Yes, correct. And remember, there's always someone that knows someone, and if you can render a connection to get an endorsement or advocation, that always bypasses a lot of skepticism, and it can get a meeting as well. And if you can add value to them as well, whether it be, you know, you support them in some way, shape, or form, that also helps too. So it's never a matter of whether you can or you can't. It's just a matter of how.
So have you got any examples about or some case studies about people that, or maybe yourself, that have tried to get into a partnership? It was difficult, but you know, some of those strategies where you're able to give that value, and you know, that's what really worked at the end of the day. You've just given us one with Russ Stevens, but you've got another example
of a difficult one. Not really. I don't really have much trouble.
Maybe they're not difficult when you do it because you do the right things.
I don't know. I used to before I was doing partnerships, I was working in sales, and I did well over 1,000 calls talking to business owners, and I learned just how to communicate. And it's weird. Where I have the challenge is not getting to them and having the conversation. It's whether or not it's the time's right for them to get on board, or they've got the resources to work with me. They're the typical challenges, and I'm not a hard closer. So it's like, if they want to work with me, great. If they don't, they don't, and that's cool too. And I'm just like, okay. So I don't really have the challenge of the conversation, but for my clients, the challenge is often just following up. It's important to just keep on top of things and follow up the potential partners. Always stay in contact. It's a thing that it takes time. So sometimes partnerships don't happen overnight. We don't just go on a date one night and then get married the next day. Some do, albeit that's fine. But typically when it comes to this partnership stuff, it takes time to build a relationship and getting to know each other. So I would say, you know, that typical saying, and someone in here is in network marketing, fortune's in the follow-up, right? So follow up and always be connecting and building that relationship. And even if it doesn't render anything for a year, just keep building relationships and make it more intimate and connected. You know, bypass the bots. It's about the human element. This is what partnerships is about. It's about relationships, you know, not, and sometimes big whales, wherever the whale is, they take a lot more time to nurture and render a result. And you've got to be patient and consistent.
So is it really more of a thing of who you know rather than what you know? And what you're doing is cultivating those relationships so that you know, you're developing something which may not be sort of too businessy, but it's you know, where they get to know you, you know, get to trust you, and in fact hang out and have a good time with.
Yep, absolutely. A lot of the relationships I've fostered have been through, I go to a place called P3 and I sit in ice baths and hot saunas, and you talk to people at the gym, you know, where I train, meet relationships there. It's doing things. It's out where you least expect it as well. So there's always opportunities everywhere.
Actually, that's interesting you should say that. Reminds me of a story of the founder of Canva. So, you know, the graphic design app, and she was courting not joint venture. We're talking about venture capitalists to invest in the company. And the person, one of the people she got on board was hard to find, hard to contact, and really hard to get to. But one thing she did find out about him is that he liked, what do you call it? What's a surfboard with a sail on it? What do you call that?
Parasailing or
Not parasailing, it was like
Oh,
parasurfing.
that's
Whatever.
the-
Yeah, it's
yeah.
a surfboard's got a sail on it. It's like a boat, but yeah, there you go. That's the technical term.
That's
And so she went out and learnt and started doing that there because she knew that this guy would hang out in the harbour and would be likely to be at the same events, maybe in the same clubs, and that was really her in that she got to meet him was through a unrelated to business, just through a sporting activity. Is that a legitimate way to go about it, or is that a bit underhand and sneaky?
Depends on your intention. I think that's very strategic.
I think it's very good.
Very, very strategic.
Paris is a bit far for me, you know.
I think the intention was to try and get his attention.
The question is, is the VC happy now or not?
The VC is incredibly happy. It was a resounding success, but she needed to find a different way to get to him because the phone wasn't working and knocking on doors wasn't working.
No, there you go. So intent, Dr. Wayne Dyer, The Power of Intention. Intention is everything. I think the book's called. Powerful one.
Yeah.
So yeah, it works. Intention does work.
Yeah. So for most of us, apart from Angelique here, who's chasing the whale, a lot of people on here are looking for possibly businesses that are either similar in size to them or have got complementary products and services which they can develop a cross referral relationship with. I mean, the traditional ways to meet some of those, you touched on it before, networking places like BNI or BX. It might be just catch up on social media. For businesses that are more sort of aligned and alike like that there, how would you suggest would be some good approaches to some of those people? And what would you do to help that along?
Yeah, great. So before anything, the $1 million question, which I was going to leave to the end, and we're coming to the end very, very soon. So I'll leave this with everyone, and I want you all to get a pen and paper or a remarkable if you're into, you're a lot younger, Gen Z maybe in here. The question is, where does my client go before they see me? Where does my client go during the time that they see me? And where does my client go after they see me? Now, once you've got your strategy and your intent very, very clear, only then do the strategies or the tactics work. So you want to get clear, first of all. In a partnership, you've got front-end money and you've got back-end money. Front-end money is bringing leads in to bring revenue into your business from the front end. That's generating leads. But the question is, what do you also do with what you've already got in order to increase your profits with what's already existing in your database? Maximize what you've already got. A lot of businesses are leaving this part out because they're always chasing the front end, but I just wanted to make sure that people are conscious that they're already sitting on a gold mine and it's underneath their nose and they don't even know it. And this can be also a revenue builder on the back end. And why I put $3 coin signs, and if you're into crypto, I probably could have drawn a crypto sign or something like that, but you can do it on the back end and increase your outflow cash flow as well as your inflow cash flow. It works two ways, but you can double, if not 4 times your revenue just from that strategy alone on the back end. So getting clear on what you want first, strategy, and then using the tactics to acquire the customers. Look, LinkedIn is a powerful source. Now, if we're in partnerships, it's B2B. So LinkedIn is typically going to be your avenue of communication. If you can get a conversation going, now 9 times out of 10, people are open to strategic partnerships. It's very much a yes question. Are you open to strategic partnerships? Yes, most people are. If they don't know it, you probably don't want to waste your time trying to educate them. So if you get a yes, then it's just about having that conversation. Now, you can look on LinkedIn. You can find who the director of partnerships are. Most companies do have them these days. If not, it's a business development manager playing that role, or you go straight to CEO and director. And there's ways of connecting with those people, whether it's directly. A lot of LinkedIn profiles have their direct contact numbers if you go to contact info. So you can get that there. or you can just contact and speak to the person at the front desk. That's usually the harder way. But I'm all about just pick up the phone and have the conversation. Emails work. They're probably your next set of port of call, and also LinkedIn direct messages. That would be last, but phone calls are the best way, the most direct way. And if you really got someone special like a whale, like I said, lumpy mail, gift cards, handwritten cards, something special. That's the best way, using alternative tactics.
Because I guess at the end of the day, we're dealing with people. We're not dealing with businesses. We're dealing with people that happen to work in the business, and it's really connecting with them. Yeah.
Sure. 100%. It's all about connection. Everything is connection. Everything stems from that.
So just looking at that diagram behind you,
Mhm.
it seems like most people here are possibly sitting on a gold mine there, in that they don't need to go out and look for new leads, but they need to look within like our databases and look at what else can we offer people in our database, and who else can actually supply that. So rather than inventing another job for yourself to create more products and deliver that there and services, you can actually go out and find other people to fill that role there, and make some money sort of off the back end of that, without necessarily increasing too much of your workload.
100%. And yeah, you just absolutely nailed it. Another back end strategy for that, and I'll give you a really good one, and a lot of people talk about this one. It's a basic one. Make it a condition of business that if they're actually happy with your services or your products, a condition of business that they refer 1, 2, or 3 people to you that will benefit from your services, and then reward them for that as well. Incentivize that, because, you know, carrots are also very appealing. They're lovely to eat, and they're full of vitamin A. So that is a good condition of business. Hey, if you're happy with my services, what I'd love to do is serve people. We do minimal spending on marketing outside, because we like to put all our money back into delivering a great product service to our clients. On that note, you know, one of our conditions is that we ask for referrals. That way we can grow our business and support more people. Yes or no? Thank you. Awesome. Great. Who do you know? And that's a great strategy too. That's a maximizer, because you've already got the person in. You might as well maximize what they can do for you as well.
Excellent. Now I know you do need to go. I'm just mindful of your time, because you're heading off somewhere else.
I get in the flow and I love it, and then I break someone else's heart. You know.
So if there's one piece of advice that you would offer us, or one thing that all of us could do to start ourselves on this journey of developing these joint venture partnerships, what would that be? What would that one piece of advice be?
Oh man, the tough question. There's a strategic answer and an esoteric answer, and in truth, the esoteric answer is genuinely care. And if you genuinely care, everything will take care of itself. I know that that's not the most, you know, golden nugget of an answer, but it's the truth. The truth is genuinely care, and that's how business should always be done.
Well, I guess that fits with that expression that many of us have probably heard before, that people don't, what is it? People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So I can't remember who said that there, but that's really
a good one.
Talking about.
That's it. I'm going to have to re-listen to this. Come up with some gold, mate.
Excellent.
Like I can't even remember what I just said. Yeah, that's a good one.
All right. Well, I know that, as I say, you've got to disappear shortly, but you do have a gift or a prize, a door prize for someone tonight, which we will draw at the end of tonight's session. So do you want to let us know what that is?
Yeah, absolutely. So door prize is a Dream 100 list building session with me. So what we'll do is we'll sit down and get clear. Won't get clear on the avatar. I'm pretty sure everyone's pretty dialed in with that. There might be some questions I have around it, but we'll get clear on exactly who your dream client, dream partner is, that has access to your client, not just 1 or 2, but at scale. And then I'll take you through how to actually reach out to them and walk you through it. And it'll be like a dream strategy session. So it'll be exciting. And I love it because, yeah, we really start to explore things. So, and also, you know, add me on LinkedIn as well. It's jasonj.voight, and it'll say joint venture expert. If you add me on LinkedIn, I'm always happy to answer questions via there as well.
Awesome. Excellent. Well, look, thanks for coming on tonight and sort of squeezing us in. And sounds like
thank you for having me on this. Like, I haven't done a podcast or a webinar or anything in a very long time. And there was a part of me that I was like, oh, I had that imposter syndrome thing coming in. I'm like, oh, am I really going to give value? Should I, and now I've got to go to this other thing and I'm like, I'm having the same thing. So, yeah.
So maybe if you have got value tonight, let's sort of send Jason out with a bit of sort of positive vibe. Let's just pop your hand up, give a big round of virtual applause.
Yeah. Golf claps.
Yeah. Yes, I do remember the old days of building joint ventures were often over copious bottles of red wine on the golf course, out on someone's boat, fishing. And some of us were fishing and others were combining the bottles of wine and not catching too many fish. And I remember one of those deals that I did was worth, this is in the mortgage broking industry when I had my mortgage broking company, which I had for 10 years. And that was our biggest deal that we did in a single session there, which I'm not sure that we were that sober, but commission-wise, that was worth $40,000 to me and my business, and that's when average commissions for mortgage broking, whatever it was in the $1,500 to $2,000, $2,500 mark. So, but that was all just built on trust, getting to know people, and really sort of some of those principles you talked about following that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like look, joint ventures, if anyone does know Jay Abraham, the godfather, the almighty wise one of marketing, he says that joint ventures, if you had one strategy, joint venture, strategic alliances, host beneficiary relationships would be the number one thing that he would do in order to grow his business. And it's the biggest way to scale. And if you genuinely care, you've got the right strategy and you've got some resources to handle it, then you'll be fine. And if you don't have the resources, joint venture with someone that does. So, yeah.
So in fact, you could run a business without having a business, just being the person in the middle who puts people together. That's what you do. Actually, I heard an interesting story about a real estate. Well, no, I was going to say a real estate agent wasn't a real estate agent, but he rang up a whole lot of high net worth individuals to say, look, I've got a property in a certain street for sale. And I'm just trying to find people that might be interested in it. Is that something you'd be interested in? Got a whole lot of yeses. Then he went to a real estate agent and said, I've got a whole lot of buyers who are interested in properties in this particular area. Do you have any there to be listed? And of course, the real estate agents were jumping for joy when they heard that. And so he was not a real estate agent himself, but he profited to the tune of several six figures just on making those introductions. So if you've got a client base, a database, in your own business, you're halfway there already.
Yeah, it's very appealing, isn't it? I mean, one day down the track, maybe soon, I would love to teach people how to do this for themselves, as in if they wanted to become a middleman, middle person, middle woman, middle, whatever you identify as these days, or, do it for your own business, go for it, I'd love to teach people one day how to do it, because it's simple but not easy, and it'd be something I'd love to one day do. So you've just sparked something inside of my noodle right now, so it's a good one.
Excellent. Oh, well, we might have to have you back to really sort of get those juices flowing a bit further and try out some of this stuff here.
I appreciate it, Nick. Thanks for breaking the podcast drought that I was on. I appreciate it.
Excellent, my pleasure, and good to have you today. All right, so what we will do, everyone, let's give Jason a round of applause again. Thank you for coming along, and let him go.